that too you could use if you want to venture to Stewart's Draft and get yourself some black cocoa powder. Oh, do they? Here? Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do have some of these. They didn't have the spelt flower when I went to look. All right. So if you look on this, you'll notice there really isn't like a fat content in this cake, and so I'm sure you're probably all wondering, is this even going to taste good? I promise. This will be the most moist chocolate cake. If you hate that word, I know that's not everyone's favorite word. But this is the most moist chocolate cake I've ever had. I think a lot of that has to do with the sweet potato, too. It holds a lot of moisture. All right, so now I'm just using a tablespoon of water to kind of just rinse out the blender. We'll add that to this. No, you know what? So the ingredients in the frosting are pretty similar to the ones in the cake, so I'm just going to use the same blender here. Okay, so we get that all mixed up. And I just took this pan, we just prepared it with a little bit of oil and cocoa powder, and then I lined it with parchment paper. All right, so we can go ahead and get that in here. Thank you, Sandy. Did you want this? Okay.
You're making the dessert first.
I know, because it's the most important part, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to get to dessert. Okay. She calls dibs. I know. I feel like that's fair. That's like baker's reward, right? Great. Okay. So we're gonna throw this in the oven. Set it in there gently. We're gonna move on to the frosting here. We might need that spatula that she left with, but it's okay. All right. Okay, so for the frosting, we have a cup of loosely packed, peeled, cooked, same thing, sweet potato here. So we're just going to scoop it from this bowl. I know this probably seems really weird, right? Sweet potato and a frosting. Makes a really fudgy frosting. And then we're going to do 2/3 to 3/4 cup. I kind of go in between those two measurements. The 3/4 cup, if you like it really, really sweet, you could go that much, but who likes it really sweet? Anybody here? The sweet potato already adds a lot of sweetness. So let's do 2/3 cup, but we can make it a fuller 2/3 cup. Oh, we already did that. So this is, coconut sugar is going in here too. Because remember we want that to get, it's a little coarser, so we just want to get that blended up in here. Bless you. Okay, and maybe just a little bit more. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted in there. All right. And then we need, for the people in the front row, we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of rounded sea salt. If we have a 1/4 teaspoon up here, not sure if we do.
This is a half. I can do half of a half.
Yeah, just going to do half of and half. Okay, she's so good, guys. All right, then we need, I don't think we're going to need sometimes if it gets too thick, we can put some non-dairy milk in there, but I don't think we're going to need to because our almond butter is pretty runny. So I have this, it's like a vanilla flavored almond butter. I usually just use regular, but this just happened to be on sale at Kroger. So that's what we have. Mm-hmm. All right, and then we need half a cup of this one. Is this our half cup measure? Yeah, we can use this guy.
So do we need cocoa?
Yeah, we're going to do cocoa powder. We might do that after we get this mixed up, just because it gets a little thick and clunky in here if you put the cocoa powder. So I usually will do this, pour it into a bowl, and then we can stir the cocoa powder in. Do you want me to hold this over here? And then if we... Good enough? Great. All right, can I steal that? Thank you. All right, and vanilla. A teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, great.
It's a quiet audience tonight, and Jeremiah is not here to enliven you all with his antics, so feel free to ask questions.
We're just going to stir this up a little bit, move it around. All right, then we're just going to move this over here. We can put the cocoa powder in this one.
It's basically all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have a 4th cup. Wait, is it half cup?
It's a half cup.
Half. Okay. Did we need more? We have more in the kitchen. We're good?
My friend next to me had this question. She was afraid to ask it, so I'll ask it. Can you over blend that, or what consistency does it have to be? Because that's the frosting, right?
Yeah, you can't really over blend it. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to over blend it. I mean, the consistency is going to look a little bit like a peanut butter, like a real soft peanut butter. And then when you stir in the cocoa powder, it's going to turn really fudgy.
Is that
So.
the answer you wanted? Is that good?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're all friends here. It's fine.
Please don't. Does the icing crisp up, or
No, it stays pretty soft. Yeah. I mean,
soak into the?
yeah, it will firm up a little bit. It'll firm up a little bit in the fridge if you want to put it in the fridge before you frost a cake, or if you want to, then frost your cake and then, or you could put this on brownies, or you could just eat it by the spoonful too if that's your thing. We don't judge. It's fine.
Can it be kind of like fudge? I mean, could you do something to make it kind of fudgy?
I suppose you could, so it would be firm like fudge?
Yeah, like fudge.
You probably could. I'm not so sure how you would get that texture. Maybe if you added some oats or maybe more cocoa powder. I'm not quite sure. Okay, and then we'll just stir that together. And then I guess we can get this washed. Thank you, Sean. Okay.
Something else for Ginger to lick.
By the way, the cake was good.
That's okay. You could see it kind of starting to change texture as you stir in that cocoa powder.
Miss Ginger said it was good.
It was good? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
And she's testing the icing right now.
She's testing that
Yeah.
too? Okay, well, if she says it's good, guys, we're good. See how it's kind of starting to look more like frosting? I don't know if you guys can see this. Isn't it something? Yeah. I know, isn't it? And when you taste it, I'm telling you, it'll kind of blow your mind a little bit. I made this as kind of an experiment because I was just trying to find things that were a better alternative to some of the things that I liked. And sweet potatoes are probably, I feel like, one of the most versatile things I've
That's funny
been
you say
cooking
that
with.
because I hate sweet potatoes.
Do you really?
But a friend of mine made
no.
sweet potato, like a pumpkin pie
Yeah.
type thing, and it was amazing. I would
So
have never
good.
known it was sweet potatoes.
I know. Well, hopefully we can win you over with this one,
I'm looking
John.
forward to it.
So besides no oil, there's no eggs.
Yep,
either
no
in the
eggs.
cake.
Yeah, no eggs.
no butter.
No eggs, no fat. Yeah. Well, I mean, from the almond butter with the
Right.
frosting and stuff. I mean, there's little bits here and there, but yeah, there's none of that. Yeah.
Are you vegan?
No, I mean, no. I eat a whole food plant-based diet, and no animal products or cheese. So I mean, I guess technically you could say that, but there's a lot of vegan things I probably wouldn't eat. So I don't really identify as that, but yeah.
Do you eat eggs or milk?
No, yeah,
or
yeah,
No butter? No
No.
fats, you said, so no.
yeah.
No cheese?
No cheese. Yep. No animal products. Yep.
Yeah.
So I know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So can you guys see? Did you guys get to see this? Just like the texture of that, how it changed from that peanut butter to what it is now. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this can go to the kitchen. It won't. I mean, it'll be a while before that comes out, but yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you could just keep it in the fridge, sure.
So
Right.
the woman beside me, I mean the young man, he wanted to know if you could make that into muffins.
Oh, I bet you
Instead
could.
of cake,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
like muffins.
I bet you
And
could.
what makes the cake rise if you're not using, what's
Using-
making the cake rise?
Right. So, what's making the cake rise? We have baking soda. So, baking soda, baking powder. We use both baking powder and baking soda. Baking powder rises when heat is applied to it. Baking soda will rise when there's an acid that interacts with it. So that's why we use the balsamic vinegar. Yep. All right. We are going to move on to the sun-dried tomato penne sauce. Yes.
Just one, I think you're going to get to this, but you had mentioned in the beginning about not baking with or cooking with the oils because were you going to get to that later? or-
Oh, yeah, I can get to
Okay,
that
good,
later.
good.
Yeah. Well, I personally don't use oils. I don't know if you've ever looked into how oils are made. Lots of heat, lots of pressure. A lot of seed oils are even use chemicals to extract the oils and things like that. So I personally don't. If I was going to use an oil in a recipe, I would probably look for something that's cold pressed, like a virgin olive oil or something. Yep, or a coconut oil. You could do avocado oil if you could find a cold pressed one. That's key because anytime you apply heat, they start to do some stir. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I think we're just waiting for our blender here.
Sandy put you one there if you want.
Should we is this one plugged in? Is it?
Yep.
Nice. All right. Ooh, Sandy, I don't know if I know how to use her fancy blender.
I can help you.
We'll give her a go. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to this sun-dried tomato sauce. So let's see. We need a cup of firmly packed sun-dried tomatoes. Those get soaked overnight in the liquid, and then you use both the liquid and the tomatoes to make the sauce. So we can just put all of it in here because Sandy and I realized we needed the liquid anyway.
Where are you?
Oh, sorry. Am I moving too much?
No. It seems like the camera has to move a long ways.
Okay. Okay. Right. So to the blender, we're gonna add everything. This is, again, my favorite way to cook because I don't like a lot of steps. So if I can make everything in a blender, it just makes it simple for me. So we're gonna need half a cup of unsweetened almond milk or alternative. I use cashew milk just because it's creamy. I think we have some in the, this is for the these dressings. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna put in 3/4 teaspoon of red wine vinegar. That might also be in the kitchen. Okay.
She needs that for something else.
Let's see. We can get started on these spices here. Okay, so half a teaspoon of dried oregano and basil. Yeah. And we might actually, Sandy and I found when we were making this in there, we needed a little bit more liquid. And sometimes that happens if you're, depending on the needs of your sun-dried tomatoes, if they need a little extra liquid, you just can throw some extra in there, okay? So we're kind of lacking in our, all right. Yeah, we're gonna make it work. It's fine. Okay. So she's putting in the cashew milk here. I'm gonna add the oregano and basil. Okay, then we need garlic. Do we get, I wonder if Sandy, is there garlic back there? Is it? Oh, great. Okay. For this? Okay. All right. She said all of this for the penne, I think she said. Is that what she meant?
Sandy, the one that was
Oh, okay,
mixed,
great. Okay,
which
yeah.
one is for the penne?
Yeah. We got it. She's on it. She's best sous chef. Okay. Then we need some salt. And we did find this needed a little bit more salt than even what this says, half a teaspoon. I think we might have even doubled that. Okay. Yep, almond butter, a tablespoon and a half. No, I haven't done that one yet. Is this one? Tablespoon and a half of almond butter. And it says maple syrup. I don't usually put that in there. I forgot to tell Sandy to take that out. And then the red wine vinegar is, yeah, we could use the red wine vinegar.
Just curious, what is sun butter? I've never heard of that before.
Sun butter, is that
Sun
like a
butter.
sunflower seed butter? Yeah, so it's made of ground up sunflowers.
Never heard.
I think is that the brand name, Sun Butter? Or is that
It
just
says
what they
almond
call
butter
it?
or sun butter.
Yeah.
Right, some people are allergic to different nuts, but they can have seeds instead. The only thing you need to know about the sun butter is that it's much looser as an ingredient.
Okay. And where do you buy that at?
It's actually on the shelves of all of our supermarkets, same place peanut butter is.
I had no idea. I've never noticed it.
Okay. No, I think we've got. Oh, well, we use the vanilla.
You
almond
have a
butter.
note there saying, weigh
okay,
the
we're at
sun-dried tomatoes, and yet it says a cup of
Yep.
firmly packed. So just the cup and squish them down then,
Yeah,
and
I just
assume
use
that
the cup.
weight-
I just
Okay.
use a cup and squished them down. You could weigh them if you have a scale at home, but I just put them in a cup and squished
and
them
squish
down.
them down. Okay.
Okay. Nope, wrong place. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Got to get the vinegar in here. You're right. Okay. Let's put a cover on. That'd be good. All right. So how do I do this? Sean, you know? Okay. What? This is really fancy.
I'll let you hear the difference.
Okay. Oh my goodness. It's really loud. Mm-hmm. Do I just hit the X when it's done? Probably do. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're just noticing it's not moving a whole lot. So we're just going to add some more liquid to it. You could probably just put it all in there.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, maybe not.
Just a little bit more.
Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. Now it's moving a little bit more. Okay. What do you think? Should we put it in there? Okay. All right, we're just going to sneak this last little bit in here. All right. You could. Okay. So when it's done in the blender, you can kind of taste it for seasoning, see if you like the salt content. If you like it spicy, sometimes we put red pepper flakes in it if you want it a little bit spicy. But also, when this mixes with the pasta, you just mix it with the hot pasta and maybe a little bit of the pasta water to kind of loosen up this even a little bit more. Because as you can tell, like it's a pretty, I don't know here if you could see, it's pretty thick. Which camera am I looking at here? So yeah, just mix this with a little bit of the pasta water and however you like that. Okay, so we'll move that. All right, so everybody said, or I guess Sandy told me people wanted to learn how to make dressings. So these, I have 3 recipes here for you. These are ones that I make almost every week. Okay, we'll put these in here. Okay, let's start with, we're going to start with the ranch dressing. We're going to make a double batch of this one. So cashews, I don't know if you've ever had like a cashew sour cream. Or cashews have a way of kind of mimicking like mayo and things like that, and thickening things up. So that's kind of what's going to add a lot of body to this dressing. So we're going to do, it says half a cup. We're going to double that. We're going to do a full cup. Or a third cup 3 times. Kind of. I mean, the cashews, I mean, it's not going to be exactly like cashew milk, but it's going to be, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I know on the recipe it says to soak these. In a Vitamix, I'd never soak my nuts. They'll whip up just fine. Mm-hmm. Yep, you won't even notice that they're there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we need, so this is 2 cups of unsweetened cashew milk. Okay, and then we have salt. Oh, we have vinegar. Okay. Vinegar kind of helps give it that tang, you know, that dressings have. And I think the tablespoon is gone. We can can eyeball it. I think it'll be okay.
That's what good chefs do.
I know, right? Except for I'm not like a real chef. I just, I'm a mom.
I was making something for Christian today, and he goes, "Dad, did you follow a recipe?" And I said, "No."
All right, so that was 2, and we're gonna double this. We need 4.
His mother follows the recipe to the T. Not a speck more, not a speck less. There's no pinch or what was that? Scant.
No scant
Or dash.
or dash. Oh. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder, I believe. Nope, 1/4 teaspoon onion powder. So we'll do 1/2 because we're doubling. Okay, and then the parsley we're going to add after. Okay, and I think this is ready to go. Parsley we'll add later. The pepper and the dill we'll add after too. So we're just going to get this moving. And this does take a little bit of time. We can move on to the Caesar. Okay. The Caesar one is fun because you don't actually need a blender or anything to make it. You can just stir this up by itself and you're good to go. So we need a 1/4 cup of hummus. We might actually double this, so why don't we do 1/2 cup? Yeah. I guess you could just do this twice.
Is there a reason that you,
Just a done in the bowl.
Yeah, just in the bowl. Mm-hmm. Do you need a spatula? Okay.
is there a reason why you use cashew milk over almond milk or soy milk or any other of those, or is it just your preference?
No, it's not. There isn't really any reason why. I just, it's kind of my preference. It's usually just what I have on hand. Almond milk has a little bit of a flavor to it. I find cashew milk to be a little bit more neutral, even more so than soy milk. So, yep.
We used to use a cashew almond blend mix, and I thought that was a dairy drinker. And before that, that was the most, it was closest to the dairy milk that you could get as far as I was concerned. But my kids didn't like it, so they just had the almond milk. That's what it used to be, but we switched over to just plain almond milk because the kids didn't like the cashew blend.
Is that 50/50?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Macadamia milk is super fatty, so macadamia milk gives you a thickness. If you like really fat, so if you like it fatty, then macadamia milk's really, really good. If you can find that. Kroger? Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she's just zesting. We have like 2 teaspoons of lemon zest. Is that what it says? 1/2 teaspoon. I'm almost okay with it. And then we're gonna add some capers. So capers are kind of, I don't know, they're in a lot of Caesar dressing. So this is kind of like a little bit of a mock Caesar dressing. So we use the brine. Do you need help? And we also use, see if I can do any better. I think she just loosened it up for me. It's fine. There you go. Good job.
So back to the cashew almond milk, they make a machine that will make, it's a lot cheaper. Almond
What are
milk
you
and
looking
cashew milk, all those milks are really expensive in the stores.
So I
So they
brought,
make a machine called the almond cow that will
we
do
need to
that
separate out the
process for
juice.
you,
We
and it's an
can
amazing
just
machine. Takes all the
drain
pulp
the-
out for you and separates it
yeah.
and strains it. Sandy makes hers, my wife
enough?
makes in that Vitamix, but then you have to put it in a filter bag and squeeze all
That's
the pulp
not
out
in,
of it. And it's a
yeah.
little, I'd rather have the almond cow myself, but yeah. But it does save a lot of money. She just buys
Yeah.
the bulk nuts and does it. Yeah,
Because we would need,
it's, yeah. Sarah and Jeremiah use the almond cow a lot. Yeah. Or you can go right to the almond cow. Yeah. Well, you can use any nut in the almond cow.
I have a question about
Yes.
the cake. Is the recipe doesn't say if you stick a toothpick, is it supposed to come out clean or goopy?
it should come out clean. Although I have noticed even when it comes out clean, I'll let it go for a few minutes longer. And I'm just a baker by touch, so I just kind of go by feel.
Okay.
So if it,
I forgot the timer. and
Oh,
so
no. Do
I
you want me to
just
come
che-
check
No,
it?
I just checked
Okay.
it and it's goopy.
okay, yeah, let it go a little bit longer.
It should be like a regular cake.
Yeah, it
Okay.
should be. Although, I mean, this
Thank
cake is really forgiving. I have left it in the oven like 10 minutes longer than what it says, and it was perfectly fine. So I don't know.
If you don't have hummus at home, can you just substitute like chickpeas, canned chickpeas?
You probably could. Hummus is going to have, other things in it. It's probably going to be seasoned, so you might just have to adjust the salt or, whatever you're putting in there. Sorry, we're looking for some of our measuring spoons there. All right, so usually we use like a whole grain mustard. Today we have just a yellow mustard. I think it's going to be okay. Okay, pinch of salt and pepper. Love these measurements. Sure. And here's a juicer if you wanted to put it over a bowl. Sure. That's a pinch, right? Don't let me do too much. How's that? Oh, too much. Sorry.
What if you got big fingers?
I know. All right, so now we're adding some lemon juice. 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. So if you like your Caesar dressing to be aggressive, you can put that other tablespoon of lemon in there. And we might actually double this one, but later. That's okay?
You're right.
Oh.
The hummus, but not the other things.
Oh, we did? Did we double the hummus?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, we doubled the hummus.
all right. Well, then I need to add more salt and pepper.
Yep.
Okay, here we go again. More capers, okay.
I think that's everything.
Did we get, is that what this is for? The garlic? Okay. All right. That's okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. We don't want to scare anyone with our use of garlic, All right, so we added some minced garlic in here. And I'll tell you, sometimes I just sort of go by look too. If it looks like it needs a little more hummus, I'll add a little more hummus. This is looking more lemon zest. Okay. I might add a little more of this guy. Okay. Okay. So that's that one. While she's getting the rest of the lemon zest in there, we'll move on. How are we doing for time? Are we okay for time?
How are y'all doing for time?
Should we, are we good? Okay. All right.
It is what
We're
it
just
is.
getting hungry. I'm so sorry. We'll go fast. Okay. You just want the cake, right? Okay. So I think this, I did add, so again too, part of being in the kitchen is sort of evaluating, what's going on. So I just noticed I thought this needed to be a little bit thicker, so I just added some more cashews. So I think we're at a good thickness now. All right. I think we were going to use these bowls here. Yeah, I think that's good. We could almost like quadruple it, but
Can we see that in the camera?
sure.
If I can find it. There it is. Oh, that looks good.
Oh man, I mean, mine doesn't stay super long in the fridge.
No.
I would say, there's not a whole lot in there that could go bad. There's no dairy, or I would say, for as long as I guess your container of hummus would stay in the fridge.
But a week, let's say.
I would say easily a week. Yeah.
A week.
Hmm. I would say any of these would last for at least a week.
Okay, thanks.
All right. And I just want to make sure I've got this blended. I think I'm going to just blend it a little bit longer. And we can move on here to the Thousand Island dressing. I don't know if that's anybody's favorite. Kind of a hard one to make. His favorite, okay, we got to make that one then. Okay. All right. So, Thousand Island dressing. Let's go. We've got more cashews. And I will tell you, I have used white beans in place of cashews in a pinch. It was okay. I would say cashews are probably the way to go. All right, move this. Okay, same thing, half a cup of cashews. This is a third cup, so I'm just dumping a little extra in there. And then we have a cup of unsweetened cashew milk. And then 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. We don't have the tablespoon out here. We could just use this too. Okay, just gonna eyeball it. Okay, salt to taste. It has 3/4 teaspoon, I think, on here. All right, ketchup, 5 tablespoons of ketchup. Oops, that's too much. Okay, half a teaspoon of garlic powder and a 4th teaspoon of onion powder. Right there. And then we're going to add some sweet relish. Three tablespoons of that. Yeah, yep. I think that's typically what's in a Thousand Island dressing is that sweet relish. Someone says, yep, that's right. That's the good stuff. We've got extra here just for you. All right. Okay, use Sandy's fancy blender again. Okay, and I'm gonna get this guy going too, because we just need this one to be a little bit. All right. It's gonna get loud. Sorry. Sorry, I made a mess. Okay. All right, so we'll just check these. This one looks good. This one looks good. Okay, we can just put these out, and I think that's it. Are these going to be moved to the back table, I guess, too? All right, this one we're just going to add a little dill and parsley, too. You guys like dill? Okay. Tell her it doesn't have any dill in it, but. Okay. Okay.
What was it, the kings all had somebody else taste the food before they? Ginger, you feeling okay? Okay.
Glad we have ginger. Okay. And then this one, do we have the spatula? This one we might have to spatula out into maybe one of these bowls. It's in the hummus. Oh, you guys are the best. Okay. Do you think that'll be? Yep. Will that transfer too much stuff? Okay. Will it fit in there, or should we do it? Okay, we'll put it in there. That might be a little too big for it, but okay. Okay. All right. We've made a mess and a meal. It's all good. All right, this is almost done.
And you just stir those
Yeah, because if
After
you
you-
put them in the blender, you'll end up with like a lovely green ranch. So you want to kind of just stir in whatever herbs you're using. You could use basil, or you could use fresh herbs too. But
What's wrong with green?
yeah, you want to. I mean, I love green things, but my kids would be like, "Why is this ranch green?"
And it gives it texture, right?
Yeah. You have to have a little texture. Okay. All right. Do we want this goes to the back then? The table? Okay.
Are you done?
Mhm.
You about done?
Yep.
All right. So she is done, and I'm going to usher this to the back, and then we'll have a prayer. And the small bowl is gluten-free. The large bowl is gluten or non-gluten. regular. Yeah.
Give you a background story of how you came to
Oh yeah.
how old are your kids and do they
Oh sure. Sure, we can get into all of
know.
that, you
Let me
guys,
ask.
if you want. Do you want me to wait to?
No,
to
I will. Let me.
Okay.
I got a question here. On the Caesar dressing, it says pinch of salt. Is that supposed to be and pepper?
Yes. I think it's
Okay.
missing a vowel or something. We need a in there. Yeah, and pepper. Yep.
Okay. So you want to start yours after? We'll have a lesson
Yeah.
inviting
Is
to you.
that okay? We can kind of just
Let's bow our
transition,
heads
yeah.
and have prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to come together with friends and people that we haven't met before and fellowship over food and making food and creating things that you have given us to create. Lord, we thank you for this food, and may it nourish and strengthen our bodies and bless us in many ways. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So let's just go ahead and join in the food, and
Okay.
I think she's gonna have a, are you gonna talk during
Sure.
the food, or do you wanna eat?
Oh, it doesn't, no, I can, if people want to hear me talk while they eat.
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
do.
Okay,
That-
great.
Yeah.
That's what
we
I'll do.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gotta give kind of a testimony, I guess, and a little bit of a better understanding of why she's cooking this way,
Yeah.
or we all are, actually.
Do they need salt and pepper back there? Okay.
Thank you so much, you did
You're
great.
welcome. Thanks. Should I clean up? Do you want me to clean that up?
No, we'll
Okay.
clean that up. We'll take care of that. I'll start
Okay.
moving stuff there, and
Okay.
you just think about, whenever you want to. How long do you
Okay.
think you'll talk?
I have no idea.
No, we'll just make it last however long you feel comfortable
Okay.
making it last.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have people asking some questions. and
Okay.
If you want somebody to stand up there with you, Sandy would love to stand up there with you
Okay.
and talk to help.
Okay.
Because she'll ask questions. Hey, Sandy?
Kids are gonna be so sad
why
they
don't you
missed
take
you. I don't know if you
the
remember.
microphone
Yeah.
and-
They always
Yes, and just kind of
Yeah,
interview
be-
her.
you know,
Oh my
Teresa
gosh,
that.
that's like so funny.
Okay? And I'm gonna clean off.
I never knew that. That's so funny. Do they usually come here?
Pardon me?
Do they usually come?
Well, no, I usually come alone, but we had a new addition to the family after, yeah. So now I have a 3-year-old. She was born, so thank you. Trinity was born like the week that shutdown started, so she was born March 1st of 2020. And then Grace is 17 and Eden is 14. And your oldest, is he in the house already?
Yes. He's I'm just gonna grab this. Yeah, for people if they want their my son's at EMI.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's what.
Okay, thank you.
Did you turn that off?
No. Here, do you want to just, do you want to rinse them here? No? Is Iowa coming with you? Oh. Yeah, sauce turnout, a little more salt. You know what? I'm gonna take the tray out and fill it up.
new stuff.
Oh, and for those who haven't been here before, we usually have a bowl up here of soapy water that you can put your forks in, and then the rest can go in the trash. But there's a bowl of soapy water.
Okay. Am I on now? I don't. I don't buy a whole lot of them. I mean, I guess because I'm the only one in my family who eats this way, so I don't really buy. I mean, like you saw before, that bag of cashews that I have usually lasts me quite a bit or quite a while. So I maybe buy that, I don't know, every other week maybe, depending. So yeah, and actually I'll make like the ranch, we made an extra batch. I would just make like a normal batch of that one. So I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself. We live here in Lexington. We've been here for about a decade now. We have 5 kiddos. We have a son who's at West Point. We have a daughter who's at the high school. We've got 2 that we homeschool, my 13-year-old son, Isla, and then Harper's 3. She's a really lovely distraction for homeschooling. So we've been here for a little while. I guess how I decided, or why I decided to start eating this way. My husband's mom, my mother-in-law, was diagnosed with cancer in 2017. And it was like a really hard summer. We drove halfway across the country. She had glioblastoma, so she had a brain tumor. And so we drove halfway across the country just to be with them and things. We didn't really know what her prognosis was going to be, because the timeline for that, I think, is not great all the time. I mean, it could be 5 months. I think I don't even know what she was. She's a little bit of a medical miracle because she's still alive, so we're super grateful. But what happened was we came back from that summer, and we were there for a few months, and I did not feel well. I felt super stressed out. It was just like emotionally, a lot, and just to come all the way back with all of our kids and not really know kind of what life was going to look like was just really stressful. So I just decided on a whim I was going to do the Daniel fast. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's based on the fast that Daniel did in the Bible, and who knew, it's like a plant-based thing. So I did that for, I think, like 21 days, and by like the 4th day, I felt like a totally different person. And I was like, what is this? Like, why do I feel so good? So I kind of just started looking into it. And, I'm sure you guys have heard now that you've been here, people talk about the blue zones, or like the healthiest people with the least amount of cancers and diseases, looking at, how they eat and how they live and things. And so that's just sort of where it started. So I started watching a lot of documentaries. I don't know if you guys have watched any of those. So I watched all of those. And I just felt compelled to feel well, and I loved the way that I felt. So that was kind of the start of kind of my journey. I made some notes because I'm not like a professional speaker, so I need to have I need to have some notes here. So I'm just curious if any of you, what are kind of like your biggest hang-ups? I don't know if you mind me asking questions. What are kind of like your biggest hang-ups for like eating healthier? Sugar. I know, sugar. Oh my goodness, I so agree. What else? Time. Does it feel more time-consuming to eat healthy? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have a couple things here. I thought it was more expensive to eat healthier, right? And then my mom and I were sitting at the grocery store one day, and she's like, have you seen how much a candy bar is? And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're right. They're like $2. I mean, they're really expensive. And I'm like, well, I'd rather buy, like, our kids love mangoes, and sometimes I look at a mango and I'm like, it feels expensive, but if you compare it to a candy bar, 88 cents for that mango is going to be better for them, right? I'll buy them the mango any day, right? Over that $3 candy bar. So I don't know. That's just sometimes how I look at it. Plus, there's there's a lot of really inexpensive ways that you can eat healthy too. So I had another one. I thought it was going to be too hard, right? That it was not going to taste good was another thing. I was like, well, it's not going to taste as good. So true, things don't taste the same, right? You have to sort of adjust your expectations, I think, when you go from like eating really highly palatable things. I mean, these things are created in a lab, right, to make you want to eat more and more and more. So you do have to sort of adjust your expectations. But the fun part for me in like my whole journey was finding things that I loved that tasted just as good, if not sometimes better. So I have a full confession. I want to talk a little bit about habit change because it took me a lot of habits that I had to change in order to, make this work for myself. So I've been doing this for quite a while, but this winter, I don't know what it was. It was like what you said, the sugar. The holidays come around and you don't really realize how much of it that you're consuming. And then I woke up and I thought, well, this isn't that big of a deal. Like I should be able to just go back to eating the way that I normally do. And I found myself at the end of a day, like needing something sweet, needing something, even after like taking all of it, after Christmas and like throwing it all away. I still felt like, gosh, what is it about that is making me so crazy? I mean, I know why it's making me crazy because it's like designed to do that. So I had to really take a step back because I know, everybody knows like sugar's not great for you, right? Your mom tells you that like when you're little. So we all know. But for whatever reason, it just, like, even having that knowledge wasn't enough. I know some people say knowledge is power, not all the time. I needed something to kind of help flip that switch. So I read a book called Atomic Habits. I don't know if you guys have ever read that, by James Clear. Have you read that? And so he talks a lot about habit change and kind of what that looks like. So there's a couple of things that really helped me have them in my notes. So he has this idea of, you have a goal in mind, right? Your goal might be to eat healthier. Maybe you have a goal in your job. Maybe you want to run a half marathon. So there's this goal, right? It's kind of just an arbitrary point on a line, like it's just there. So what are the habits that are going to get you to that goal? But even beyond that, and I thought, well, I know what good habits are. Like I know how to do this. I've been doing it for years, but something still wasn't clicking. So it wasn't so much the habits I needed to form those habits, but in order to form those habits, I needed a system that would help me get to those habits repeating. So the one thing about habits is that they have to be obvious, they have to be easy, they have to be like satisfying. So kind of what that looks like in my life, I do a lot of meal prep on Sunday because I don't want to cook I'm the only one in my family who cooks this way, although my family eats very healthy. But I need something that would make, you don't want to get to the end of the day or at any point of your day and feel like I just don't have time. So what I do, I take, my system is to prep everything on Sunday because I'm like, I can carve out an hour of time and whatever I get done in that hour of time is what gets done. So if there's other things I had planned to do, it's too bad. That hour is the time that I do it. So I always steam up potatoes. I'll take a whole 5-pound bag and steam those up at the beginning of the week, and then I'll just put them in the fridge. What I like to do with these, you can cut them up and just put a little seasoning on them and put them in the air fryer, and they crisp up just like fries. Kids will dip them in avocado or something. So, or I mean, I'll eat the potatoes are just so versatile. You can do so many things with them. Sometimes I'll just cut one open and put that Thousand Island dressing on it, like on a salad. I always put everything on a bed of greens. That's kind of another one of my hacks. Anything that I'm eating just goes on a bed of this because I try to eat. I want to get in like as many greens as I can. So that's just an easy thing. You just throw it all. Everything that you're eating, just throw it all on a bed of greens. So yeah, that's it. Kind of, if you put this on there with some of that Thousand Island dressing, it kind of gives me like a little Chick-fil-A feel. I know if some of you are like, oh, that's not the same as Chick-fil-A. It's pretty close. I also have a recipe for a Chick-fil-A sauce if anybody's interested in that. It's pretty much exactly the same. I also steam up a bunch of sweet potatoes too because I find them to be also, as you can tell, very versatile. You can whip this up and make a pudding with just this and some cocoa powder if that's your thing. You can, oh man, what do we do? So many things. I'll mash this up in the morning and throw a banana on here and just eat that for breakfast because I think it's delicious and it's warm. So yeah, sweet potatoes, I make a lot of those. Frozen fruits and veggies are kind of a little bit of a lifesaver, right? You don't have to cut it. You can just thaw this out in your fridge if you wanted to put this on, I don't know, oatmeal, whatever. You just want to eat it, it's fine. I'll also take this and put it in, just frozen in my high-speed blender with a little bit of, sometimes a little bit of honey, like a little squirt, a little bit of a liquid, so you could do like a lemon juice, or you could do just water and just blend it up. It makes kind of like a sorbet, and my kids love that too. It's really good. So I always have frozen berries. That's easy, right? That doesn't take any more than just going to Walmart and buying these for $3. So that's super easy. I always prep rice. Well, not always, but if rice is an easy thing to prep. If you want to have something, prep this at the beginning of the week. This I use to make all kinds of. It's just a vehicle, kind of like the potatoes are, right? For anything that you would want to do. So you can cook up this rice, throw a scoop of this on greens here, slice up an avocado, put a little bit of you take those sushi, sheets of sushi, and you crunch that up with a little bit of soy sauce. It's kind of like a sushi bowl. It's really good. So that I do a lot of. We make Greek rice. We'll just stir some hummus and olives in here, put some tomatoes. That's really good. So just kind of everything that I do just kind of becomes a vehicle for something else. You could also steam up veggies and put that on there. Bananas. I love bananas. These are almost getting ready to be frozen. So we freeze a lot of, we eat them, but we also freeze a lot of the spotty ones, and we make banana ice cream. You can just throw them in a blender with some cocoa powder. It's really good. Let's see. I always have,
The cocoa powder banana,
yeah.
you eat like an ice cream, so you don't add sugar.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's just
Yeah.
those two. That's
Yep,
it.
it's just those two. And you usually need a little bit of liquid too. You can put a little vanilla if you want in there, but or sometimes we'll do ice too. If you wanted a little bit more liquidy, you can add a little bit more liquid, have the ice in there, and it's almost like a Frosty if you use just a little bit of cocoa powder instead of putting a lot in there. And our kids, we eat this for breakfast. We'll put toppings on it. You just kind of make a chocolate smoothie bowl, and you can put toppings on it. It's kind of fun. Another thing I have a lot is just canned stuff. It's so easy. This is an organic corn. What I do with this, a lot of times I'll take this with a can of black beans and just mix it with a jarred salsa. That's all bought stuff, right? I didn't have to do anything. And it kind of just makes this, I don't know, it's sort of just like a salsa, but it's more filling. And I'll throw that on top of a potato too, or, which then goes on this baby right here. So I always have cans of beans, because those are good too, and just easy to throw on stuff. So the makeup of my plate is anything green that I can just throw on there, usually a starch of some kind, a bean, and then what I always prep or try to have is like sauces. So things that you like, right? Condiments are great because those you didn't have to do anything, but having a few of those sauces, I usually do 2 or 3 of those a week too, and that you can throw on any bowl at all. And it just kind of makes it effortless if you're trying to change your habits and things. This is also, Sandy and I were talking about this. This is black salt. I don't know if you guys have ever had black salt. If you're missing eggs, this has a little bit of a sulfur, you know, like eggs kind of have that sulfur kind of smell to them. If you put this on like a tofu scramble, this will taste just like eggs. Or like the other thing I do if you're going to do like a potato salad or that kind of thing, this gives you like that egg flavor without having the egg in it. This I bought online. I don't know if there's anywhere else you can get it. Maybe at a spice shop if we have. We don't have one like that around here, but okay. So that's kind of how I've simplified my system here. So there's a couple of things about habit change I wanted to share with you. So I had to think smaller. Like, what am I actually going to do? I know, like, these goals are big. I had to just stop thinking about, like, what my goal was. I had to think small. What's, like, one tiny thing that I could do? James Clear talks about just 1% better. If you get 1% better every day for an entire year, you'll end up being, like, 37% better at the end of that year. And to me, that feels huge. Like 37%, that's really big. So trying to think small. What's something that you're actually going to do? Can you make a sauce? Can you set aside like 1 hour? Not everybody has time like every day to set aside. So I just like to get it done on like a Sunday. I'm just busy. We're all busy. So that was helpful. Let's see. All right. Okay, so the other thing I tried to focus on was sort of this concept of like crowding out. So I tried to fill my plate with like the most important things. So one goal of mine was like I really wanted to make sure I was eating like a pound of veggies a day. So, which I know seems like a lot, but like these are pretty heavy. So this is a pound, I think. So I wouldn't actually sit and eat this all day. But, combined, everything would be a pound. So what I did was I just started filling like half of my plate with like that non-starchy veggie or whatever. And then whatever was on the other half, like I didn't even think about it. I didn't care. Like that was fine. But I just wanted to make sure that was something that I did. So there's that. So just trying to crowd out all of this. And I'll tell you, I made myself eat like the veggies first. And by the time I did that, I really didn't want a lot of the other stuff. So that was sort of like my way of tricking myself into thinking like, it's still there on the plate, so it's fine. I can have it. But I didn't really want it after I'd eaten all the other things. So the other thing he talks about too is you can't rely on motivation. I didn't realize this about myself. I'm a little bit of an overachiever in some things. Like I can take a task and get really excited about it and then, go from start to finish and complete that task. But then I feel a little bit lost afterwards. So he talks about, you can't really rely on motivation. You have to rely on like those little systems that are in place that help you form those habits to then will get you to your goals. So that's another thing. All right, he also talked about sequencing. So let's say, just changing up the order of how you do things can be helpful too. So if you, let's say your kids forget to brush their teeth before they go to bed, right? That sometimes happens. So you can make a rule to say, okay, after dinner is done, everybody brushes their teeth. That way you just change up the order of what you do it. You're doing it like maybe way before bed, maybe 2 hours before bed, but you just do it and you get it done so that you don't forget about it. So sometimes if you look at the way you're doing things and you kind of want to make a change, sometimes changing up that sequence of how you do things can make you actually do the thing. You could also set a timer, a block of time. We talked about that. And then batch actions. So if I'm in the kitchen, kind of compiling things that you do, if I'm in the kitchen prepping potatoes, I can also throw rice in the rice cooker. I can do lots of other things. So I can, cut these bananas up. If I'm going to be in the kitchen anyways, I might as well just do it all. So, yes.
I like that idea about brushing your teeth. Because who wants to eat after they brush their teeth?
I know, right?
Right.
That's another good thing.
So if you brush
Mhm.
early, you won't
Yep.
snack afterwards. Sandy
Yep.
does that, and I say, hey, you want some of this? And she'll say, no, I just brushed my teeth.
Yeah, I know. It works every time. Okay. Yes.
Do you tempt yourself by buying anything
Hold on a
at the
second.
grocery store that you know you shouldn't be eating?
You might want to.
Okay, so she asked me if I buy anything at the grocery store.
That you know when you take it home you're not supposed to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely that and I take it home that I know that's not like part of my goal. Yeah. There, I
Kids there seeing a husband.
yes, yeah,
They're getting potato chips. And
yeah. So there's that was part of the thing.
take 'em, but I mean, they want it at the house.
Yeah, right. So that was part of the thing that made it so hard for me because I was like, well, surely if I'm going to do this, I would just throw everything away so it's not in my home, right? So I would just focus on the things that were in my home and it would be easy. But that's not reality for me, and that's probably not reality for most of us. So I had to develop something that would enable me to like succeed with that stuff in the house anyway. So yeah, I mean, we've got buckets of candy from, I don't know, Halloween and all that.
Is it the
Yeah,
classic?
there's ice cream. No, I'm not sure. But yeah, so there's things in my house. One thing that's helped me, because we talked about sugar. The one thing that I've learned to do is just make things that I like that don't have sugar. So I just sort of plan for that to hit, at the end of the night. What I do a lot, I wish I would have made some, but I'll take dates with cocoa powder and some oats and blend them up, and they kind of become like a little fudge brownie. You can roll them into balls, and that for me is kind of enough, enough to like trick my brain into thinking like I don't need anything else.
The bait and switch.
It is kind of the bait and switch, yeah, which you have to do for a while. I mean, because you have to have something. I personally needed something that was going to replace that. I don't think about it as much now. Now that I'm like, the further removed that you are, I think the better you feel and the less tempting it can be. You can also make hot chocolate. Sometimes that, to me, is really like, it's warm and comforting, and you can make like a big cup. You just put some cocoa powder and water. You can do, I usually do stevia. You'd put a little pinch of salt and some vanilla. And you can use a plant milk if you want to use a plant milk to make it creamier. But sometimes that at the end of the day is good for me. So that was like a big game changer too. So anyways, anybody have any questions? Comments? It's hard.
You got one down here.
Your kids separately, or do you cook and say, this is what it is, and you're welcome to make something else? Or how do you balance that? Because that's really hard. Like, our
Yeah.
family's not as big, and there's 5 of us, and I find myself a lot saying, this is what's for dinner. Enjoy it, or you won't starve to death.
Yeah.
So like, where do you go?
Yeah, so she asked if I cook separate things for my family. My family eats like very healthy. So we all eat the same thing to an extent. So I'll just eat like the sides. So my family will eat them too. So if they're doing a meat or a protein or something, that'll just be separate, but we pretty much all eat the same thing. I've just modified it. I just eat the sides. That's usually like my meal. And then they can throw in a protein. So you find ways to simplify it, because that would be really hard. I can't make like 4 meals
My wife
at
does
a
it.
time. Yep.
I just wanted to say thank you, that I'll take my sweet potatoes that way anytime.
I know.
You know,
it's
you can have baked sweet potatoes for dinner and
Yeah.
sweet potato pie for, or cake.
Right.
No, I'll eat my sweet potatoes that way always.
Yeah, isn't that good? Yeah. Yeah.
My wife makes chocolate cake, and she's going to hate me that I say that because she loves her chocolate cake. But that was the best chocolate cake I've ever eaten.
It's really good.
And I don't.
I
and I don't
know.
like
I
sweet
feel like that's such a win, Sean, because you're not a sweet potato fan.
Pie and cake.
I know, but I mean, really, it's kind of the beauty. I don't know what a cool design, a sweet potato is. I don't know, like the beauty of something that can transform. I don't know. It excites me. It makes me want to like explore more foods and things. I think it's pretty cool.
Brownies.
Yeah, brownies.
Do you create your own recipes, or are you working off of like several recipe
Oh,
books?
so I told this to Sandy. I'm not like a recipe girl, which I mean, I know I gave you all recipes. So I do. I mean, there are some recipes that I use in the day. Like if I'm gonna wake up, I don't have time for recipes, right? I'm just gonna take whatever I've prepped, and this is its recipe by itself most of the time. But I do have a few things that we.
When it comes to the cake, I mean, that doesn't get thrown together, right? I mean,
that-
that's a recipe.
Oh, I just like steal recipes or borrow other people's recipes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was mine. It's all me.
Well, you brought up with the holidays and Easter's coming. So with your children, there's no candy in the house,
Oh no, there'll be candy.
and you're able
Yeah.
to just leave it alone.
We'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to come back for like
When
a.
you said you start at Halloween
Yeah.
and then go to Thanksgiving
I
and then you go
know.
to Christmas. I guess that's where we get sidetracked is because you feel like, well, we should bake cookies for
Yeah.
Christmas cookies, and we should do this and that, and you
Yep.
tell the kids, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Or no, you can't have any candy.
Yeah, no, I think you just have to kind of keep it balanced, right? I think for kids to never have stuff, I mean, I admire those who could do it. I just feel like this is the world we live in. There's balance, right? So our kids have a healthy relationship with food. It's fine. They can have like candy, and I can control myself for at least a little while, right? But it's not easy. Yeah.
Hi,
Yes.
thank you for your presentation.
Oh, you're welcome.
Congratulations on the sun at West Point.
Oh, thank you.
I have to ditto Sean here. I was amazed how much I continue to learn how much I have in common with him. I don't like sweet potatoes either. I
know.
don't normally eat them, but I didn't expect, because it was cake, to taste sweet potato. I didn't. It was delicious.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
I'm glad. I'm glad you liked it.
The rest of the meal was quite good too.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad.
Got a question over here.
I was just going to address what you all were talking about, sugar. I consume sugar a lot right now, but in the past I've been sugar-free, I think 3 different times in my life. And just to address what Beth said, at the very beginning, it's super hard. The first 2 weeks to get through, I had to like eat a lot of dried pineapple to get a sugar. I had to get some sugar in me because I was like going crazy. But the further you go, the easier it is. And then when you do actually eat a dessert, you're like, oh, that's like really gross, kind of, because it's so sugary. But if you want to address the holidays, like go start it start it after Easter, because the next holiday might be way down the road. And so by that time, you're not even tempted. So the kids, you might be making it for the kids and you're not tempted, but you keep making your other desserts, the healthy desserts out there, and then it's just really, the first 2 weeks are really hard.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
A healthy Christmas cookie recipe that you've come across?
I do
Like
have.
sugar cookie or holiday
Yeah.
cookie that and maybe isn't so sugar focused?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. I've had to modify a lot of things. So if there's a recipe or something that you are looking for, I probably have it on my Pinterest. So just let me know. I'm happy to share it. Okay. So I'd say just, I guess in closing, if you're working on your habits, it's sort of like the tortoise versus the hare, right? The hare is definitely faster than the tortoise, but we want to look at little things that we can do, little changes and stuff. So if you're thinking about this week a habit or something you like to build or something you like to change, just think small. What's the smallest thing? Just as long as it's a step forward, just something small that you can do. So, yep.
All right, let's give it up for Beth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beth. And I'm sure after she hasn't had anything to eat either, so while she's eating, she might have to take some questions that are maybe small questions or something like that.
Sure.
She would
Or
like
big questions.
Or big
that's fine.
questions. But what a beautiful, and that was a great show. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much. And you all have a safe travel home tonight, and you can stay and chat if you'd like to and talk about the next Cooking with Friends is in 3 months out in August. So we take a little time off, and then we start back in the fall or early fall, like late August, I guess. And then we'll once a month, isn't it? Or is it twice a month? You see, that's why my wife should be up here talking, not me. 3 months off, once a month starting in August. Please come back.